You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Nothing to say, but I. One of the hallmarks of the narcissist is the ability to turn every situation to be about the narcissist, to demonstrate how it's about the way the narcissist thinks and feels, how it affects them. Those of you that have been entangled with a narcissist at some juncture will have experienced this. Whether it's a blatant pity play, but look what it's done to me, but what about me? How do you think I feel? Through to talking about their day and not listening to you, or hijacking whatever circumstances the narcissist has become involved in to then ensure that it's brought back to what they've done. Now, of course, everybody at some juncture speaks about their own experiences and their own perspectives, but with the narcissist, every occasion must be linked to them. If not, it's a waste of time, because the narcissist must be at the centre of matters. That way, control is more easily afforded. Fuel can be garnered with greater ease. The facade can be managed with greater effectiveness. Harry's wife has regularly been criticised for the way that, particularly when she gives a speech, she just talks about herself. One notable example was in September of last year, where she bored the arse off many people at Bridgewater Hall in Manchester, where she talked about herself, mentioning I think in the region of 54 times. She's there to apparently inspire the audience, yet all she did was talk about other occasions when she'd been at the One World Summit. It's all about her. She can't help it. This isn't said to make you feel sorry for her, but to simply demonstrate to you that her narcissism directs her to behave this way. She doesn't even realise that she does it, and if you were to confront her about it, she would simply deny that she engages in this behaviour, the first line of the twin lines of narcissistic defence. Even if you were to then sit her down and force her to watch a replay of her speeches, she would reject what you have to say because the narcissism will not let it sink in that she makes it all about her. If you were to compile a compendium of footage showing the way that she pushes in front of people, that the way that she takes over from Harry, that she talks over people, interrupts them, that she dresses inappropriately to draw attention to herself, turns up late to draw attention to herself. Remember when she attended the service of booing and sashayed down the aisle so that all eyes were on her. Every single instance, she has to make it about her. And we've seen this once again with her recent attendance in New York, where she has nothing really to say but talking about herself. The first instance is when she attended the school in the morning before the mental health meeting. Watch this piece of footage and you'll see how it has to be about her in all instances.
Education, right? It's education. I think all of us can stand behind the value and the importance of education, especially having access to it. But that access to it and what it is can now come in different shapes and forms, and you can still show up in the world in such a strong and valuable way. Even if you don't take the more traditional route, you're still taking a route of education.
First of all, you can see that she's part of a group photograph. Rather than just sit there and have her photograph taken, like everybody else is doing, sitting normally, Harry's wife has to draw attention to herself, and she grabs, I think it's one of the co-founders of the relevant organisation, putting her arm around her and hugging her and drawing her in. Of course, Harry's wife believes that she's just being lovely, that she's showing affection, but what she's actually doing, and we know this because she's a narcissist, she isn't actually being lovely because she can't be. She has no emotional empathy. She just generates the artifice of loveliness for the purposes of, look at me, aren't I kind? Look at me. See, look everybody, see how I'm grabbing the co-founder and giving her a hug because I'm a hugger and I'm a nice person. Thus, she does it in order to draw attention to herself in the photograph, making her stand out in the photograph compared to everybody else. Then, when she and Harry are talking, She interrupts Harry. She regularly does this. Poor old Harry then has to give a sniff and touch his nose. But she interrupts, showing her lack of boundary recognition and the fact that she just believes what she has to say is far more important than what he has to say. And what are we treated to? We're treated to, it's education, it's education. All of us can stand by the value of education, especially having access to it, but that access to it and what it is can come in different shapes and forms, and you can still show up in the world in such a strong and valuable way if you do not take the more traditional route, or route, you're still in the route of education. What the fuck does that mean? Once again, a meaningless word salad. But it's about her. She has to interject and say something. And she, of course, internally thinks, that was fucking great what I've just said there. That'll really sort them out. That'll have them thinking, gosh, isn't she a paragon of virtue and insight? In actual fact, what is it? It's meaningless. But she has to make it about her. She's nothing to say except about herself. Although she's not talking about herself, she's making it about herself by interrupting Harry and then coming out with some meaningful waffle. We then see her in a corridor, shaking some hands with people. Fair enough, she's asserting control by physical means, but then there's a gentleman with the spectacles in the end who's minding his own business, and in she goes. Hello, it's me, the Duchess of Sussex. He's polite, and he smiles, but he wasn't interested. But once again, she has to insert herself into a situation that doesn't concern her in order to make it all about her. The I always rules. And then we see more of it in relation to the presentation that she was involved in at the mental health meeting that took place in the afternoon. Watch this little piece of footage.
Being a mom is the most important thing in my entire life, and outside, of course, being a wife to this one. But I will say I feel fortunate that our children are at an age, again, quite young, so this isn't in our immediate future. But I also feel frightened by how it's continuing to change, and this will be in front of us. As they say, being a parent, the days are long, but the years are short. So it worries me, but I'm also given a lot of hope and a lot of energy by the progress we've made in the past year.
What do we hear once again? I feel fortunate. I feel frightened. It worries me. Now, again, there'll be people that say, well, she's bound to speak from personal experience. Agreed. But she does it with such regularity. And remember, this is a summit, a meeting, in relation to people who've lost their children. It should be about them. It should be talking about how do you feel? Or we need to understand what you have to tell us about this experience. But no, she doesn't pose any question to the individuals that she's talking to, and I've seen the rest of her involvement. It's all about how she feels, what she sees, what she's thinking. Because as always, when it comes down to Harry's wife, and driven by her narcissism, she actually has nothing at all to say, apart from I. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.